The 7th episode of the 5th season kicks off with a massive celebration. We find ourselves inside the Democratic Church of America, where the preacher has organized a huge event to honor humanity's new Messiah, who has now achieved true immortality. The stage is packed with musicians, dancers, and everything necessary to ensure that this new Homelander's debut is the most spectacular performance ever witnessed. In addition to the visual spectacle, the preacher has written a song that openly mocks the miracles of the old Messiah. The lyrics aim to make the audience feel that those ancient acts are useless when measured against the godlike abilities of the new one. What good is an invisible man in the sky who turns water into wine when you have an immortal superhero who can actually help heal the nation? This is just one line from the thrilling and catchy anthem created to introduce the leader of the Democratic Church of America. This man has arrived with the promise of resolving border conflicts and uniting all of humanity into a single, unbreakable front. The atmosphere is electric as the performance builds toward its grand finale. According to the plan, the show is meant to conclude with Homelander himself descending from the heavens to make a dramatic landing right in the center of the stage, cementing his status as the supreme savior. Since this is merely a rehearsal, they are currently using a cardboard cutout for the performance. Meanwhile, the real Homelander is in the Oval Office, a massive smirk spreading across his face as he realizes he no longer has to worry about aging, gray hair, or the passage of time. He is now immortal and so incredibly powerful that no one would ever dare to stand against him. A few seconds later, the President of the United States and Ashley show up to congratulate him on his latest milestone, but Homelander has no time for empty compliments. He has several urgent matters he wants resolved before the church officially introduces him as the world's new Messiah. First, his religion is to be the only one recognized in the entire nation. Consequently, they must begin shutting down all other churches immediately. He doesn't want to see anyone carrying anything other than the flag and his personal symbol. Furthermore, he demands that the military be sent into every city that supported the Starlighters to begin filling up the prison camps. They need to send a clear message of overwhelming force. He has one final set of demands. Breastfeeding is to be mandatory, and abortion is to be made illegal. Additionally, they have exactly 24 hours to remove all baby formula from every supermarket. In his view, that garbage should never touch a baby's lips ever again. The president tells him that these ideas must be brought before Congress, meaning it will take more than 24 hours to secure approval. However, Homelander commands him to dissolve Congress on the spot, to which the president reveals he simply doesn't have the authority to do so. Hearing the word no does not sit well with the new Messiah, so he orders Ashley to read the president's mind to confirm if he is a true believer. Furthermore, he warns her that he can hear her heartbeat, threatening that if she dares to lie to him, he will kill them both right then and there. For a few seconds, she hesitates to comply, but Homelander stands up and rips off her wig, revealing he already knew what she was hiding under her fake hair. He barks at her to do it before he loses his patience entirely. Forced to tell the absolute truth, Ashley reveals that the president is terrified of him and, moreover, believes he is somewhat psychotic. At that moment, Homelander leans in and tells him that was exactly what he expected to hear. He isn't impressed, but he does seem a bit disappointed. A second later, he places his hands on the president's cheeks and applies pressure until his skull explodes into 1,000 pieces. What's left of the president ends up staining the carpet, and Homelander wipes his gloves on the presidential chair before congratulating Ashley on her sudden promotion. At the same time, Starlight and are meeting with two girls named Jordan and Marie who have something important to share. They present a report covering the last 3 weeks. They've been tailing the preacher everywhere, and it turns out he's been spending an enormous amount of time on the recording set. This suggests they have a major announcement ready for the world. On top of that, security has been doubled, and the guards are carrying new weapons that the girls have never seen before. Right then, Starlight tells them it's over. She orders them to pack their things and go home, but she keeps the terrifying truth to herself. She knows what the announcement is. Homelander is now immortal, and he will kill anyone who dares to oppose him. The girls flatly refuse to abandon everything they've fought for over the past year. They tell Starlight to her face that they joined the rebellion because of her, and that they truly believed in what she stood for when she went up against the Seven. Now, however, they have no respect for her. They can see she's changed. She looks completely defeated. They make it clear that if she isn't willing to lead the charge anymore, then someone else will step up and do it. Back at the school, Huey is jolted awake by ear-piercing screams. When he rushes toward the laboratory, he realizes to his horror that Butcher has locked Kimiko inside a capsule filled with uranium. What's happening in the lab is actually a high-stakes test. It turns out Frenchie tracked down Russian research detailing the specific method used to give Soldier Boy the power to strip other supes of their abilities. This process involves multiple sessions of extreme radiation therapy lasting several minutes at a time. The team believes that if they can successfully replicate this method, Kimiko will gain Soldier Boy's ability, allowing her to blast Homelander and effectively strip him of his newfound immortality. Because of Kimiko's unique regenerative gene, they can fast-track this process significantly, potentially achieving in weeks what took years with Soldier Boy. However, this method is excruciatingly painful, and the radiation damage is nearly impossible to endure, whether inside or outside the containment box. At that point, the rest of the team returns and starts arguing over the insanity of this plan, but it's not their call to make. The choice belongs to Kimiko, and she is determined to press on. According to Sage's data, there is a strong chance of success, particularly with Kimiko, whose rapid healing and pain tolerance allow for much longer radiation sessions. hands the girl's report over to Butcher, who argues that the best way to uncover their scheme is to go straight for the preacher, kidnap him, and break every bone in his body until he talks. But Huey refuses to go along with it. He tells Butcher that it's over, that they've lost, and that there is absolutely nothing left for them to do. Butcher has no intention of giving up, not today and not ever. After delivering a speech that's honestly pretty lackluster, the rest of the team falls in line with him. They decide to completely ignore Huey, whose knack for cowardice never fails to stun them, though there's a different look on his face this time. He seems genuinely exhausted and completely fed up with the whole ordeal. Back with the new Messiah, the Deep shows up to apologize for what he did to Black Noir, claiming the silent hero didn't believe in Homelander and was always talking behind his back, making him unworthy of the world's future. Luckily for the Deep, Homelander couldn't care less about Black Noir's death and tells him not to sweat it. He has much bigger things on his mind. He reveals that his next move is to abolish the Seven entirely, meaning Deep and everyone else are officially fired. Desperate, Deep begs to take over the team, suggesting he could run it as a side project. But for Homelander, that's a non-starter. He wants every ounce of the spotlight for himself. He thanks Deep for his service, but tells him to get the hell out of his office immediately. At the same time, the group is positioning themselves outside the recording studio, blending in with the crew to sneak inside undetected. Butcher, unwilling to let Huey keep acting like a delicate flower, decides to take him along as his partner for the mission. The plan is simple. Whichever pair finds the preacher first has to notify the other so they can make their move. Once inside, Starlight notices the sheer volume of programming created solely to smear her reputation. These shows portray her as a traitor who sides with undocumented immigrants and has turned her back on her country, a realization that makes her stomach churn. Back at the base, Frenchie is desperate for Sage to double-check his math and confirm he's on the right track, knowing that even the slightest miscalculation could kill Kimiko. However, Sage has felt useless for a long time now. After her plan failed and allowed Soldier Boy to hand over the compound to his son, she feels like her mind is broken and that she's no longer the smartest woman on Earth. To cope, she now spends her afternoons lobotomizing herself just to experience a few minutes of blissful ignorance. As for Butcher and Huey, they've finally tracked down the preacher, who is obsessively rehearsing his lines. He knows that if he screws up, Homelander will burn a hole through his skull with his heat vision, and he's not about to die during the Messiah's second coming. His goal is to milk this for all it's worth and become the leader's top apostle. But their plan goes sideways when Synapse appears, a deadly psychic soup who has racked up a massive body count. If he manages to read their minds, he'll kill them before they can even blink. It's time for the team to pull back, regroup, and come up with a completely different strategy before they get caught. Before they can make a break for it, Synapse appears right in front of them and uses his powers to knock them out cold. Just like that, 50% of the team is now being held hostage. Meanwhile, the Deep is busy getting wasted on a pier, tossing empty beer cans into the ocean. A hammerhead shark surfaces and communicates with him, telling him to pick up his trash and stop poisoning the only creatures who have never betrayed him. But Deep is too far gone in his own head. He admits he's had a terrible day and just needs some emotional support right now. The shark keeps telling him to just get in the water and swim for a bit, claiming it'll help him relax. But Deep won't shut up, rambling on about how badly he's been treated and how great it would be to actually have a friend for once. Finally, losing its patience, the shark reveals that it actually actually wants to kill him for what he did with the oil pipeline. That disaster killed millions of fish, and now the entire ocean is out for his blood. Whether it's a river, a stream, or even a swimming pool, every living thing in the water has been put on notice to kill him on sight. Deep has become completely useless because he no longer has the sea on his side. Back in the Oval Office, the bloodstain from the former president has already been scrubbed away. In just 5 minutes, the official announcement will be made that Ashley is taking his place as the new leader of the nation. She will be the one to inform the public about the upcoming radical reforms and the permanent ban on baby formula. In what might be the last few minutes of peace she ever has, Ashley argues with the tumor in her head. The growth accuses her of killing the president, but she insists she had no choice. If Homelander had heard her heart skip a beat, he would have known they were lying, and they wouldn't be sitting in the seat of the second most powerful human on Earth right now. Whether they like it or not, they have to back Homelander, or they'll end up exactly like the last guy. Meanwhile, back at the production set, Synapse hands the preacher the report on the intruders he captured. Spots him rushing out of the building and decides to tail him. But before dealing with the captives, the preacher has one more job to do. They've brought in a focus group from across the country to watch the first commercial for the Democratic Church of America, which frames Homelander as the new Messiah. It's a crucial step to gauge people's reactions and take notes before the final worldwide launch. Since some of these people are hardcore hyper-patriots, this test run could either go incredibly well or end in total disaster. However, from the projection booth, and Starlight discover something truly grisly. Every single man surrounding the focus group is actually a psychic soup, previously on death row for murder, now out in the world and working for the church. It's clear this isn't just an exhibition. They are planning something far more sinister. As the commercial begins, Homelander is shown walking through a vast field of wheat, mirroring the iconic scene from Gladiator. Jesus of Nazareth descends from the heavens to tell him that he has done all he can for humanity, but his powers have hit their limit, and now it is time for Homelander to carry on his legacy. The narrative claims that turning the other cheek has accomplished nothing. The world needs a true American hero to lead humanity into its next phase of devotion. A man who will punish infidels and deport migrants. A man who carries power beneath his wings and is worthy of divine blessing. The commercial continues with Jesus taking off his crown of thorns and handing it over to his successor, Homelander, who accepts the honor and vows to lead humanity to the promised land. As the scene unfolds, an eagle draped in the colors of the American flag flies overhead, officially replacing the ancient dove of peace. 10 seconds before the commercial ends, the preacher turns around to scan the people's faces and realizes that many of them aren't exactly on board with what they just saw. This means the approval rating is going to be incredibly low, something Homelander definitely won't be happy about. Meanwhile, the new Messiah is busy looking at a scale model of his future church when his father, Soldier Boy, shows up to ask him what the hell he's been up to lately. That's when his son introduces him to the concept of Homelandia, a paradise for the faithful that's set to be 10 times larger than any other theme park. The site will feature a massive statue marking the spot where he supposedly received a visitation from an angel. In fact, he's even ordered a special section built for Soldier Boy, where he'll be honored as the father of the Messiah, complete with a parade in his name 3 times a day. However, his father tells him he's totally over all this fanfare and nonsense. He plans to head down to Colombia to indulge in plenty of happy flower and meet some pretty girls for at least a year, just to put everything they've been through behind him. He has no interest in being a part of his son's divine kingdom. The news that his father won't be there for his ascension is a major letdown for Homelander. He knows deep down that Soldier Boy's departure is directly linked to him, and this is when his father finally decides to speak his mind. He tells him that he only gave him the V1 for Clara's sake, because that's what she would have wanted. In his eyes, however, Homelander is just a freak who had a wet dream about a woman dressed as an angel who breastfed him and told him he was special. He makes it clear Homelander isn't a god, and he never will be. 2 seconds later, Soldier Boy says his goodbyes and wishes him luck, but the moment he turns his back, Homelander grabs him by the throat and squeezes with terrifying strength. Now that he's immortal, he actually has the power to restrain him, and Soldier Boy can't break free, eventually blacking out. Back with Butcher, he and Huey find themselves tied to chairs in a dark office. The psychic did something to them, and they can't use their powers, at least not for now, which means their chances of survival have just plummeted. Huey is still stuck in his defeatist mindset, telling Butcher that they're toast and that it's simply not worth fighting anymore. Butcher makes it crystal clear that he isn't quitting, and if that means he has to drag Huey's dead body across the finish line, then that's exactly what he'll do. No matter what, they are going to finish the damn job. Back at the school, Frenchie is still pushing through the intense sessions with Kimiko, exposing her to radiation so she can gain her new ability. However, her wounds aren't healing as fast as they used to, and he's terrified they're doing something wrong. In a quiet moment, he confesses that he's had a change of heart, admitting that a quiet life on the coast of Spain doesn't sound bad at all. He even shows her a photo of Simone, a dog he plans to rescue so they can start a life together, eventually having the 3 children Kimiko wants. Just as she offers a faint smile of approval, things take a dark turn, and the pain intensifies until she passes out and falls into a spontaneous seizure. Fed up with waiting for Sage to help on her own, Frenchie confronts her, telling her to stop moping over her past mistakes. He tells her that people learn from failure, and while she might not understand his love for Kimiko, he needs her help to get this right and finally end the living hell they've all been stuck in for way too long. Frenchie knows she has no logical reason to help him, since to her, love is just a chemical glitch in the brain. Still, he begs for her help, asking her to do it for the sake of anyone who might have ever loved her. Sage glances at a photo of her mother and finally relents, asking for a couple of hours for her brain to return to full capacity, since she's lobotomized herself way more than recommended. Meanwhile, MM and Starlight discover the preacher's true play. He's using the psychics to brainwash people into becoming recruiters for the church. Just as they are about to record the evidence, Shalane bursts into the projection room, leaving them with no choice but to scramble into the air ducts. From their hiding spot, they watch as she and Savage sniff each other like animals, giving in to their most primal instincts. At the same time, it's revealed that Homelander has successfully forced his father into the cryo chamber. Soldier Boy is back in a deep sleep, and this time, there's no way out for him. At that moment, Homelander gets a call from the preacher, informing him that they have Butcher and that coward Huey handcuffed in the office. He wants to know if they should kill them or move them, and Homelander orders them to do whatever it takes to beat Sage's location out of them. He's hell-bent on punishing her for her betrayal. Furthermore, when the preacher reveals that only 6 out of 30 people actually believed he was the true Messiah and the new God, Homelander flies into a rage, barking that those numbers are nowhere near enough. Meanwhile, the Deep is clearly shaken by what his aquatic friends told him, and seconds later, tragedy strikes. An old man begins to drown, and the crowd begs Deep to save him. It would be incredibly easy for him to pull the man out, but since the public has no clue the entire ocean is out to get him, Deep decides to play dumb. He lets the old man drown and ducks out, while onlookers catch him on camera fleeing the scene. Back with Butcher, one of the psychics shows up to follow Homelander's orders and extract Sage's whereabouts. He starts by shapeshifting into Kessler, torturing Butcher with the darkest corners of his own mind. The psychic has full access to Butcher's head, using every painful memory to try and break him, and only sheer willpower can stop that from happening. A few seconds later, the psychic reveals that he's just been playing with them. He has full access to both of their minds and tells them he knows exactly where Sage is hiding, a school in Pennsylvania. He's also fully aware of their plan to give Kimiko Soldier Boy's special ability. In the next room over, the preacher follows Homelander's orders and informs all the guests that since they don't believe in the new Messiah, they aren't worthy of the new world. He brands them as heretics and walks out, leaving Savage and Shalane behind to finish them off. The first person dies when Shalane slits their jugular in a single fluid motion. Seconds later, Savage begins his hunt, but before they can complete the massacre, MM and Starlight burst into the room and start getting people to safety. Starlight takes on Savage, landing a couple of heavy punches that actually draw blood. MM, meanwhile, knows he's no match for Shalane, no matter how useless she might seem at times. To distract her, he throws a rat her way. Her primal instincts immediately take over, and she won't stop until she hunts it down and catches it. Starlight takes down Savage, and the team manages to rescue the civilians, who now finally realize who is truly fighting for them. Meanwhile, the psychic returns to Butcher, gripping a dagger and ready to slit Huey's throat. However, the kid starts mocking the death of the psychic's brother, successfully getting under his skin. Right before the soup can cut his throat in a blind rage, Huey laughs and tells him that he was so focused on the taunts that he forgot to keep blocking Butcher's powers. A split second later, Butcher appears behind him and drives his disgusting tentacles straight through the psychic's heart. Immediately after, they rip him in two with those biological whips. After freeing Huey, the two of them bolt out of the office before things get any uglier. Back at the school, Sage has finally finished reviewing Frenchie's calculations and corrected a few minor errors. Now it's time for a much more intense trial to see if Kimiko can truly gain Soldier Boy's ability. With the new math, the uranium has a far more potent effect. Only 13 seconds pass before Kimiko's skin begins to burn off completely from the radiation. Even though Frenchie is on the verge of shutting down the machine out of fear, she begs him to keep going, insisting that she can still take it. Once the 30-second test finally concludes, Kimiko collapses, and the team is forced to wait for the radiation to clear before they can step in to help her. Unfortunately, things take a turn for the worse when the perimeter security system flags a flying soup closing in fast, which can only mean trouble. To keep Kimiko safe, Frenchie stashes her inside a zinc-lined duct, knowing Homelander's vision can't penetrate the material. He then scrambles to wipe any evidence of their work. Suddenly, the entire school shudders as something incredibly heavy crashes right through the roof. Next, we see Homelander stalking through the hallways, using his vision to scan through the walls in search of Sage. He quickly spots the zinc duct and picks up the sound of breathing coming from inside. But before he can tear it open, Frenchie thumps the wall twice to draw him away, and a second later, Homelander is standing right over him. In a desperate move to save the woman he loves, Frenchie decides to sacrifice himself by hiding inside the irradiation chamber. He waits for the perfect split second to blast Homelander with the uranium, successfully leaving a minor burn on his face, while mocking him about how the blemish is going to ruin his next big TV interview. A few seconds later, the roar of Homelander taking off signals to the girls that it's finally safe to come out. When they emerge, they are met with a horrific trail of blood that leads them straight to Frenchie, who is clinging to life by a thread. Our French friend has just enough time to say a final goodbye to the woman he loves. He tells her how sorry he is for failing to give her the perfect life they had dreamed of on the Spanish coast. But to him, knowing she is safe is worth more than anything else in the world. Seconds later, Frenchie passes away, marking the end of a long and storied journey spent fighting against the Supes. His death brings the chapter to a close on a deeply tragic note, leaving behind a wave of unanswered questions for the next installment. It's a heartbreaking cliffhanger that forces us to wait another long week to see what happens next. So, until then, take care.